Tim?
Yes.
What is up, dude? It's DJ Ramo and Captain Manhattan from the Metal Mixtape in Ashland, Oregon. How's it fucking going, dude?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Dude, we've been jazzed ever since we found out we were going to talk to you, man. I mean, you know, of course we're going to keep this professional and like men, you know? But I'm not going to lie. We did fanboy for a second, and we are fucking incredibly stoked, man, because we're both musicians, we're both singers, we both do this radio gig after, and that we love, dude, and we're just like, dude, we get to talk to one of the gods himself to grace us with his words. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Tim Ripper Owens, thank you for being on the Metal Mixtape.
Nice, thanks, guys, thank you.
No, of course, man, dude. So, I mean, dude, we have a little bit of time. We have so much to dive into. Dude, your new album, Return to Death Row, which is absolutely sick. And honestly, for the people who are going to be listening in Oregon, like I would say you have to spend a couple weeks listening to the discography. What do you agree, Josh?
Oh, definitely. There's been so much, man. You know,
there's been so much.
Priest, Ice Earth, Ingve, your solo stuff. You've done it all, man.
Well, I've been fired from more bands than people have been in, but you know, it's not even, you know, you think about Three Trimmers, my solo records, you know, Pyramid I put out, Held Hostage. I mean, listen, the list goes on. If I go to my Wikipedia page and I see all the stuff I've done, because here's the problem. I sit in my house now and just record for people. Like if someone said, you know, I post it, which I'll give a plug here, rippervocals@gmail.com, rippervocals@gmail.com. What I say is when I'm off from touring and I'm not recording a record, I'm like, hey, if you want me to guest on your album, a song or two, you know, email me, we'll talk about it. And man, I sit in my studio and sing sometimes 1 or 2 songs a week. I could probably do more. So, I mean, I put out so much stuff, it would take you a lot longer than 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the wiki page, because I was kind of going through that, doing a little bit of homework, and I got to that Project Hail you did, and with Mike Portnoy, and I thought that was ironic because we just interviewed his son Max Portnoy on the show yesterday.
Okay, yeah. Oh hell yeah, it was fun.
You've done it all.
I've done it all.
So Tim, like we were just talking, you've done so much of your career and everything. And I think one of the questions I want to talk about before we talk about Return to Death Row, which released December 9th, 2022, for everybody out there, please go check it out. It's absolutely incredible. Is that, man, like, I feel like you're just like a workhorse, man. And a lot of people don't see like the thousands of hours that people put behind the scenes, man. I want you to explain to people, like, your first feeling you ever had where, like, you feel like in your heart or maybe like in your career you made your first big breakthrough, and what was going through your mind, man? Because you just come off as a person that just works his ass off, dude. Like, tell me about your first big moment that you feel like, holy shit, like this is happening.
Well, I mean, obviously when I made Judas Priest. I had one before that when Winter's Bane signed a Massacre record label and we flew to Germany to make a record. But the problem was this was in the 93 or something like that. Metal was really bad then, you know, so.
Oh, yeah.
It really didn't go anywhere. But, you know, making Judas Priest was like me going to college, I guess, you know. And I guess when I fortunate for me, when I left Judas Priest, I went to Ice Earth, so it was still, you know, as far as touring and crowds and sales, it was still like being in the major leagues, you know. But Judas Priest was the first moment. You know, I guess there was a point, though, after Judas Priest let me go, and then after Ice Earth let me go, I started thinking, what am I going to do now, man? I mean, how am I going to make a living? I have to go get a job. Then I went to Ingve, and then I realized how I could do this solo stuff. I could tour the world playing solo, you know. So that kind of worked out for me.
Dude, after, like, you know, you're telling us, like, the breakthroughs and all that, is playing these big stages and like getting like this attention and recognition and now like we're in the internet world with all these like opinions and comments, is being in the limelight and like being a musician like everything you thought it would be when you first started out to what it is now?
Well, I guess when you're younger, you think you're going to make a lot more money. But I guess, I'll tell you what, I never thought I was going to be a musician. So I always played in bands and did them. I always had a regular job, and I didn't, it wasn't an idea that I was going to become the lead singer of Judas Priest. But it is, you know what, it's crazy. You talked about earlier the time and effort and everything you put into this, and then you have people who just tear you down for no reasons. When you read comments of fans and they, listen, you don't have to like me or like my singing, but to say that I suck and to say I don't have stage presence or these other things, this and that, people say, it's like, you're wrong. You're just fucking saying that. You're just saying that to be, you have nothing good to say. Like I said, if you don't have any good to say, don't say it at all. I would never go on somebody's page and say you're not a good singer or your album stinks. But that, you got to deal with that stuff. I don't usually read it, there's an example. I just lost some weight. Been working at it since the summer. I lost 50 pounds.
You look good.
I've worked hard at it, and I go to the gym every day. And then I finally read some comments on Blabbermouth, and the first comments were, he looks like shit. He's on heroin. He's doing cocaine.
Oh my God.
You need, blah blah blah. I'm like, what does this have to do with metal? I don't know. I'm a metal singer. But people just like to. But I usually don't read comments. I think the problem is, guys, is you can read 90%. You can have 90% great comments, but the main ones you see, and it gets in your mind, is the bad comments. You guys know, being musicians, people can say all night long, you guys, man, you sounded great, you sang great, and then somebody comes up and says, yeah, you're not that good. It's like, what? So, but you just got to take that. It's part of it, and I try not to read a lot of comments. Most of the time, I will go back at people with humor, and then they get mad at you. If you comment back to them in a negative way, people get mad that you actually comment back to them in a negative way. I'm like, well, wait a minute. They just came at me. Why are you mad at me? Well, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, I don't know. That's what it is.
People don't like it when you stand up for yourself. And no, I agree on a lot of senses that, people just comment just to spew shit. Like, I remember I saw a post about, somebody posted a live music video, right? And the video's 5 minutes long. And within 30 seconds, it was like, oh, this is bullshit, this sucks, and all that. I'm like, dude, you didn't even listen to the song. I was like, you showed up just to be a dick.
No, that's exactly what it is. When they read articles and it's on there, and they read the headline or they see one thing, they don't even read it.
Yeah.
The big example was when that thing on Blabbermouth, when they picked that up, which was a nice thing they picked up, and it was a nice headline, so it wasn't like they were tricking people. People were like, now he's got to lift weights and get muscle. I'm like, it says right in the thing on Instagram, I'm going to the gym, and I have been forever, but I go to the gym every single morning and do cardio and lift. But they don't read the whole thing, so they just, this is what you got to do now. Well, thank you, Einstein. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate that, too.
So before we get into the new album and stuff like that, I just have you had mentioned Yngwie a little bit ago, and I want one random question I want to get. Describe him in one word, because that album, Perpetual Flame, you guys did, your voice, his guitar playing, it was just, in my opinion, perfect combination, like peanut butter and jelly.
Well, great. I'll just put that as the word, because
love it.
My thing about Yngwie was I learned I had a blast with Yngwie. I had a really good time with him, and really easy time in the studio with him. And I learned he loves to play guitar. He loves the guitar. He has guitars around every single chair, all over the place, and he plays whether it's blues or this or that or the other. He loves to play guitar.
Dude.
I love it.
Dude. No, that's sick, dude. Alright, dude. Getting into the new album, Return to Death Row. Absolutely sick. Tim, I don't know how you do it, man. One quick question before this. How do you stay creative, man? What influences do you pull? Because I mean, me and Cat Manhattan here, we're both lyricists, and we both write these words and all that. And I'm not gonna lie, man. Sometimes I feel like I'm illiterate, and I have to look up words. Like, how have you progressed and evolved with your vocals throughout your whole career?
Well, you learn. I mean, you got to learn as you go on. You're always learning. And writing lyrics, there's nothing wrong with looking stuff up or getting ideas like that. There's nothing wrong with that. You write them however you have to write them. Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't. Vocally, I always want to get better. Luckily, I grew up loving people like, Halford, John Oliva, and people, Ronnie James Dio is my absolute favorite, and David Bowie, where they're people who are creative, who are, I like singing, I grew up singing in high school in the choirs and musicals, so I like versatility, and I like to sing in characters, and I like to change my voice to whether it's death metal 1 second, and hardcore next, and 80s metal the next, or whatever I want to sing, like, whatever comes out for the song, that's what comes out, so, but you just always got to get better. Listen, guys, my main thing is, I want to sing good every time I sing. When I'm on stage, I want to blow people away. That's my job, and I want to sing, whenever I sing live, or whenever I sing in the studio, live, I want to sing it as good or better than I've done it. And that's been how I've done my career. That's how I think about it. I don't want to half-ass anything or not sing it full on or cheat, unless I'm sick or something. But, you get better, you learn, you can always learn off of anybody.
Okay, Tim, I got a great question to ask you to piggyback off what you just said. So, back in the day, you remember how Nilly Vanilli had their big mess-up on MTV or whatever? They had their big mix-up track. Okay, I would say about 90% of all artists, even now artists with big vocals in like the pop scene or hip-hop or rap scene, are using full backing tracks. Like, not like I respect some of the harmonies in the back, I'm learning as I get older just to let people do what they love and love. But I noticed that nowadays that like almost the artistry of like, all right, this show's going to be raw. Like a Bruce Springsteen show, every show's different. It's raw. It's different. So like I remember just seeing like certain artists like with big vocals like having these backing tracks but back in the day bands would get butchered over it. But people were still doing it. I remember Aha would do it too.
Now. I mean, half of them aren't even singing live in the studio. It's all processed and auto-tuned. But I mean, listen, like you said, I don't mind if there's some harmonies in the background or there's some choirs or orchestra or whatever. I don't mind that. I mean, the main vocal line should be the main vocal line. I mean, you sing it. I mean, I don't even know the point of not singing it. But to each their own. Let them do it. Like I've always said, KK's always said, the proof is in the pudding when you watch Ripper sing. Just come out, he actually sings. So.
Dude, damn straight. That is fucking badass. So, dude, Return to Death Row, absolutely badass. Man, I've listened to it maybe from the back. Every song's on it. Die While We're Young, of course, my absolute favorite. But
We're Alive.
But yeah. But here, Josh has a great question off this album.
Oh no, I just was the cover when I was listening to the album and we were going over it. The first thing I noticed, I'm a horror movie fan, and this is probably might be random to you, unless I'm not sure, but. Were you trying to go for like it looks a good? It looks very similar to Wes Craven's The Shocker movie.
Yeah, listen, I've heard that about 8 million times.
I figured, but
it didn't start like that. Here's the problem: it started off with the guy sketching it, the artist sketching it, and Dan Goldsworthy. It's in the sketches. The problem is once you start putting an orange jumpsuit on it, then it looks like a Shocker. I mean, listen, the cover was Return to Death Row. It's Ripper in an electric chair.
Yeah.
I don't think it originally started, but once it got to a certain level, Dan was like, all right, we'll give a nod to the Shocker. But what are you going to do? It's kind of like...
I personally love it because I saw that. I'm like, oh, man, that's awesome. It totally reminds me of that because I love 80s horror.
We always say it now, but originally it was just these sketches. It was hand-drawn sketches. It's like, let's do this. And then, but now it's kind of that nod to Shocker.
I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, with all these releases and all these albums that you're putting out, like, is there like a chip on your shoulder or something that like you're always trying to outdo like your next album? Because you were talking about how you want to be able to like do those vocals live and just be like a real performer, like before releasing this album and writing this album, is there something that you wanted to do that you didn't do on previous albums?
No, I just want to be more aggressive, go back to some roots. And you know, I started off in thrash bands, and I wanted to kind of jam. You know, we wanted to feed off of the Jugulator records, the Beyond Fear records, the style of that. But no, I just listen. Each thing I sing, it's different. I don't approach it any different. Each thing I sing is how I approach that. That's all I worry about, and that's what I do. And just so everybody knows, the new record, it's not under Tim Ripper Owens. It's just under Ripper. So Ripper and then Return to Death Row. Ripper
and Death Row.
Definitely, yeah. The whole album, the EP, I love it. My favorite two tracks. So favorite one being The Night, Take It Back, followed closely by Return to Death Row. But the whole album is just.
And now that you said something, I totally agree. It is aggressive. And for anybody out there who loves aggressive powerhouse vocals, you will love Ripper. And I would highly recommend Return to Death Row.
Yes.
So, Mr. Tim, is it okay if we ask you like 3 or 4 fun questions before we end the interview?
Yes.
All right, sweet. This one you can answer quick. It could be a yes or no answer. Is there a heavy metal Illuminati?
No.
Okay. All right. If you could, that was good. All right. I was hoping you'd say yes. I'm like, who's the leader? Gene Simmons?
To be honest, you would have wanted with either or. I just picked no because I really don't give a shit.
Yes. All right. If you could choose your death, but it had to be by somebody in a horror movie, who would you choose to kill you, and how would they do it?
I'd choose Freddy Krueger because at least I'd be asleep.
That's true.
Can't argue that.
All right.
Can't argue that.
That's true. If you were in a zombie apocalypse and you could choose one weapon to destroy the zombie horde, what is your one weapon?
Atomic bomb.
All right. Atomic bomb. Yeah. I think you'd be taking yourself out, but.
Hey, man.
No, I would plan it where I wouldn't be standing there.
That's true. I'm an idiot. All right. Throughout your whole career, is there somebody you met that you were excited wasn't a dick?
Probably DJ would be one, but no one's been a dick, so it's been cool.
I love it.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, I appreciate you so much for being on the Metal Mixtape. Please, everybody, listen to Ripper, Return to Death Row. We worship you. We idolize you. We're going to go worship your shrine and light some candles and smoke some bowls to Ripper, Return to Death Row. And but last but not least, can you say this is Tim Ripper Owens from Ripper, and you're listening to the Metal Mixtape?
Yep. And this is Tim Ripper Owens, and you are listening to the Metal Mixtape. Get heavy.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making our day, man. This is our dreams come true to do this stuff.
All right,
we love it.
Give me time, guys. Give me a shout anytime. We'll do it again.
Sounds. Hey, I hold you to that, brother. I love you, man. You have a good day.
Later, Tim.
You got it. Thanks, bud. Thanks.